this to me has felt like one of the stranger game weeks in recent Chiefs history because the game matters, and certainly the Chiefs need to win this football game if they want to have any ongoing hope of the playoffs. But we're talking about the need for a team to go 4-0 that just went 1-4 in its last 5. So we're going to talk about the Chargers and we're going to talk about the Chiefs, and the game matters if they win, maybe, and doesn't matter if they lose, although it could. It's a very, very strange. No, there's another word for it. No, let's start the cold open over again. It's a very. Hold on, let me think about it. It's a odd week. It's a bizarre situation. It's gonna be a befuddling contest.
Perplexing, some might say.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'd probably call it a weird game.
That's not right.
Perfect.
I mean, we are as down to the details as your Kansas City Chiefs have been this year, as Seth comes collapsing into his chair as the intro stinger finishes playing. Nate is dialed in. I'm here. We're here. Let's do it. This game could matter. There's still an opening to the playoffs. Pazlu in the chat says it's a very the lab game. Thank you. That's exactly. And you know what? This will be a football show today. So that's something else I can promise you with confidence. We've been called amateurs more than once. Really, the connections continue and continue. But Nate, I'm gonna let you get the first crack at it here today, because we're not gonna go through every syllable of press conferences these last 2 days. But there was a weirdness to those. I mean, it's just kind of strange hearing these guys talk about how, like, yeah, we've got to attack this game and, take what's in front of us. We got to keep the energy good and we got to have fun making plays. And what stood out to you these last 2 days out at Arrowhead?
No one wants me to sing, but I have to be convinced that Chris Jones has been listening to Kehlani a lot, specifically Out the Window, the new ish single that is honestly one of the best, if not the best, R&B song of the year, because he says the door is still open, but then I want to say, don't throw our love out the window. Don't throw your playoffs hopes out the window. Come on. I mean, look, we maybe come back over. Our playoff seeds are folded. So if you don't know who Kehlani is, you should. Wonderful artist. She will tickle your tonsils and your eardrums more than Andy Reid's offense right now. So with that in mind, I do want to report a couple things today. I did see Rashee Rice. He did not want to talk to me. He did not want to talk to Sam McDowell. He did not want to talk to Herbie Teope, who had the unenviable task of being the one to personally ask him. I asked him yesterday as well. He didn't want to talk to Jesse Newell. So there you go. Both me and Matt Derrick on separate occasions, I believe, saw Damian Pierce in the flesh, ladies and gentlemen. I saw him. He went the other direction. Clearly, he's on a restriction of some kind, perhaps on and off the field. Yeah, I mean, Dave Toe basically said the Chiefs are shitty this year. Sorry for the cursing.
It was his curse. You have to. You can write your complaint there.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, children.
I think he asked it as a question, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
He said a cuss.
But he basically acknowledged through a curse. Yeah. Let's say the vibes are not immaculate at all. Even the music today was ass. I just gotta be honest.
Really?
Like, even the music today, for whatever open portion of practice we saw, was
they miss Willie Gay so bad.
So bad. Oh my God. I don't know. Maybe Justin Reed had a couple, days with the ox cord that we are now suffering through. I think Chris Jones handles the music in the locker room, but whoever had the playlist today, this ain't it. So look, they are contractually obligated to play football. They are calendar obligated to play on Sunday. They hope to win.
It could be worse. They could be talking like Joe Burrow.
That's true.
That's at least they could be. Can you imagine if Patrick Mahomes at a press conference said word for word what Joe Burrow said this week? I would be. I
don't want to imagine that because that would be a lot of work that I don't want to do right now.
I would be. How do you pronounce it? Apoplectic.
Yes,
I would be.
Yes.
I would be hysterical.
Yeah.
I would be
a little
either that or I'd be catatonic.
Or is life itself existential, Joe? Like that's where we are in the questioning.
He's been
how do I
Kyle
follow
Shanahan a little?
Yeah, it's like, how do I follow up on that? You okay, dude?
No, that was the tone and voice of a man, because no matter what happens with this season, Mahomes has been to the mountaintop multiple times, right? And he's scaled the mountain, got to see it from the peaks, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas with Burrow, you're looking at a guy, he's not an idiot. There's no way that he doesn't know at this point, this many years in the league, that their scouting department is smaller than everyone else's, that spend less money on various stuff. I should not.
Stay away from the private chat, Seth. Keep going.
At this point, I can just read it. That's fine. Go ahead. Keep talking. Don't worry about it.
But I think he's been in the league long enough to talk to people that have come in and have gone, and he can kind of see the writing on the wall with stuff.
Yeah.
They've handled Trey Hendrickson, which, to be fair, Trey's kind of struggled with injuries, and this is why teams are so hesitant. And I always talk about the player side of it, so you got to talk about the team side of it too. There's a risk involved in offering someone $40 million a year. I get that. That's fair. But he got real existential. Although I will say this whole well, if I'm not having fun doing it, what am I doing it for? Sir, you are doing it for the $55 million a year you get paid to do it. It's a job. So let's all calm down a little bit here.
And look, sometimes the job will not love you. Sometimes the job will not save you. But son, it's 3rd and 7, and they are going to hit you if you don't get rid of this football.
Yeah. And all jobs, some of the best advice I ever got that has seen me through many, many dark times in multiple jobs is that all jobs have things about them that are a bummer. Otherwise, someone would be doing it for free. And that's just the truth.
Great point.
Yeah, my dad was due. I haven't quoted him in a while. But anyway, so that's the only bright side I can think of. The vibes are not great. People are mad at me online, which I know never happens.
Weird.
Not mad. Not mad. I've been engaged in some lively debates with people that I've had really great interactions with in the past, but there are people that feel like I've done a heel turn with regards to my criticism of Andy Reid's offense. And then there's people that are like, well, you're just ignoring Mahomes. It's like, no, I've criticized Mahomes this year too.
I wish Jimmy Stewart would stop giving you such a hard time.
I wish that
I could tell that was coming.
Yeah. And so it's tough to it's just the vibes aren't great heading into a quote unquote must win, following your must win that was following your must win.
Right.
At a certain point, just stop. He's already dead. Now, I don't think the Chiefs season is over.
No. But Seth,
one thing. Stop saying that.
Depending on which doctor you talk to, he's either 10% or 12% alive. What are you talking about?
Turns out he was only mostly dead. I see someone watched Princess Bride recently. I will say this: if there's one team I can count on to do something fantastically weird down the stretch, it's the Chargers. So if there's one team that oh yeah, they totally could lose 2 of their last 3 if they lose to the Chiefs. Oh yeah, I can count on the Chargers to do that. And I know if the Colts flame out, that might do it too, even if the Chargers don't.
Sorry, I don't know. Maybe you haven't been keeping up. The Colts are going to be fine.
He has not kept up, apparently.
I will say, if there's one player,
going to be a lock to be entertaining this Sunday.
If there's one, that's the other thing. If there's one team we can now count on to do something weird, It's the Colts.
It's the
because
Colts.
Now they have Phillip Rivers as their quarterback. I will say this. If there's one quarterback, if you were to tell me I'm going to pick a 44-year-old quarterback to have not done much prep at all and come in and still kind of be the same guy he always was, it would be either him or Brady, right?
Well,
Because I assume Brady probably still works out 7 hours a day.
That's why
I think he needs to make sure he hasn't had a strawberry in 6 months before he can take a hit. Like Phillip Rivers could spit a cigarette out of his mouth and go out there, and it would surprise you that he smokes.
Would.
But
Yeah,
no, of course not.
Would.
You have
An unlit cigarette for the vibe.
Cigarette. You have to remove Tom Brady because like he's not a normal human being. We all know this. It would be Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco's still
Right.
playing football in the Lord's 2025. I know what Cam Newton said, and it's sad because I was offended for Cam Newton too, even though he has no affiliations with the Colts, which is why they obviously called Phillip Rivers. The guy we should be thinking of as to like, hey man, we just need you to run slants, bubble screens, give me an occasional deep shot. It's got to be Drew Brees. What's Drew Brees doing, man?
The one thing is that Drew Brees' arm was cooked, and Phil Rivers' arm was cooked for the last 8 years of his career, and it didn't matter.
Right.
And that's the thing with Rivers. Rivers, I think, with the way he was playing quarterback by the end, I think Phil Rivers could play quarterback into his 50s. The way he was playing it, the man had no arm, and those passes. And I know we got to talk about the Chiefs, but let's
he had a shoulder.
Let's face it. Right now, what we're doing, it's called coping, people.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the bad stuff. I'm tired of talking about the bad stuff.
Hey, I had the enviable task, Seth, of asking Matt Nagy. By the way, kids, sometimes you have questions in your head that you cannot ask because that would be deemed unprofessional. Like, hey, Chris, are you going to use the Derek Thomas chop to try to destroy Justin Herbert's hand? I can't ask that to a professional athlete, even though we all know this man had surgery a week ago, basically.
Stiff arm guys with that hand,
and he stiff arm guys with that hand.
Shout out to you, Justin Herbert. You're kind of a maniac.
Nice. There ain't no kind of. He took as many horse pills as they allowed him to.
He tried to stiff arm that reporter after the game.
Poor Laura Rutledge.
Was it Laura Rutledge? Sorry, I didn't see it live. ESPN, it makes sense. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Laura Rutledge, and it's like, hey man, he wants to get. I told friends this. I was like, he wants to get to the quickest ice bath that he's ever wanted to get to, the fastest way possible.
I want to celebrate with my teammates. Vicodin and an ice pack. Yeah.
Yep, and a little bit of weed. Just come on now. Come on. I'm trying not to feel anything, Laura. What do you want? My hand hurts. It was like that's all he should have said. He said, I want to celebrate with my teammates. I need to talk to a doctor. My hand hurts. Can I go away? Please, for the love of God. Anyway, so that was the question I had in my head to Chris Jones. Couldn't ask it. I did not have a question prepared for Matt Nagy. And then Matt Nagy said something interesting stuff. He said, we as coaches, we got to coach better. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that out loud. Now, it's a good bar.
Matt, I have a follow-up. Can you?
Well, my question
That's not what Nate asked, for those of you who
spoiler
alert.
Sorry.
You can tell him what I asked, Josh. I tried to be as buttoned up as possible, even though everybody knows I'm very jovial. I make a lot of jokes. Everybody knows that, like, I can pretty much turn on the serious and silly button instantaneously back and forth.
Yeah, it's just, you don't get to see it on the podcast very often, but Nate puts on one of those trilbies with the word press, in the hat, and that's why the coaches know when Nate puts that hat on, they're like, uh-oh, here comes the follow-up.
Pulls a cigar out of his mouth.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, coach, I got a question for you. See?
Listen here. Coach, I heard you say you need a coach better. What do you mean by that? Which is basically what Nate said with his little hat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Seth, I don't know if you were tell me if I'm right, Josh. He said why do we call that play? What was the play design? Did we scheme it up? Did we call it at the right time? Did we execute it? He had a laundry list that I was not prepared for, and I said, Coach, that seems like a lot. It's December 11th, buddy.
Coach, one more follow-up. Have you, until now, and this is important, have you until now not been doing any of those things? Like, Is this something that just occurred to everyone? Like what? And you know what? Coaches are in a terrible position, right?
Of course, he's in a no-win position.
Yeah, if they say nothing, we make fun of them. And if they're spags, like, Jaden Hicks kind of sucks this year. You're like, whoa, whoa.
that was by far, especially for this show's predilections, that was the soundbite of the day where Spags just said, yeah, this is almost a quote. Right? Yeah, Jaden Hicks has made some mistakes I wasn't expecting him to make in year 2. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just go bleep myself. I don't know.
Did anyone follow up with, is he like jumping a bunch of routes that he shouldn't that leave him out of position because he's not fast enough to cover it? Oh, wait, that's Nick Bolton in year 5. And look, I like Nick Bolton, but why is he exempt from it? Why is
Shamari Connor's playing 100% of the snaps. I mean, that's,
look, and that man every now and then has been going this way, and no one's over there, man. It's like, what are you doing? Where are you going? It's hard to say.
I saw it on film, Coach. I saw it on film. They broke Tennessee, Coach.
I was watching Remember the Titans the other night, and I heard blitz all night, and I just blacked out, Coach. I'm sorry. I am actively detrimental to this podcast right now, and I apologize.
No, you're perfect.
Right now?
At this moment? But
guys, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start thinking about times when I break in. And I'm going to think about, did that need to be said? Why am I saying that? Did it need to be said right then? Is this the appropriate place to be saying it? I mean, this is like hypothetically. Nope, not going to go down that road. This is like,
hey, good job.
See, that's how you coach. That's how you coach, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you make adjustments in the game, in the season. Come on,
that was about to be a hospital ball.
No, that was about to be a cemetery ball, and your boy's working on stuff here.
Let's go. Seth's working through it. Somebody in the chat earlier said they could see your cheekbones. That was exciting. I was wanted to highlight that for you, Seth. This show has really just become a vanity project in the most literal possible sense. You know what? We've really cracked this topic open already. Let's go ahead and cannonball the rest of the way into what I have determined here today is the scheme schism, which is really just, I just wanted to have a fun sounding way of talking about what Seth wrote about in the Chief of the North newsletter today, brand new, fresh, dropped earlier today. And it's stuff that we talked a little bit about on Tuesday, and it's stuff that you've just sort of discussed a little more now. But most of the time, if not every time, you've done the anatomy of a play. It's been like Jet Chip Wasp. It's been this play that sent the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game. It's been this crazy blitz on 3rd and medium. And you forgot to do the fun ones, which as your editor, as your free unpaid editor that doesn't get access to your CMS, I just wanted to note here on the podcast, you forgot to do a fun one.
I did. There weren't a lot of fun ones. Well, the problem is the fun ones got dropped. So that's why I had to start off. I had to start off just writing about the fact that just because there's a thing doesn't mean it's the thing. We've talked about this before in connection with the Chiefs offense in recent years, which should tell us something. Hey, okay, the chat's saying nice things about my cheekbones. It's just that I have them now. That's the only difference. But by the way, I did talk to them.
We can just see them now.
Yeah, I did talk to a buddy that I haven't seen.
I need a lot more.
I did talk to a buddy that I haven't seen in months, and I promised him I'd send him an after pic. So if someone takes a great shot that shows how much weight I've lost, send it to me in a DM or somewhere on Twitter, and I'll retweet it or do something.
This is awesome. That's the first time I've ever heard anybody seek out their own thirst traps, I guess. You're telling people to DM you pictures of yourself. That's crazy.
And who said Martha Stewart was the only person doing that in our Lord's 2025?
Nate, you and I need to talk about that. So that's the real reason I keep trying to get you on the phone.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen at home, you can check out that bingo box.
I was checking earlier. It's been a tough year for the bingo card.
I gotta stop looking at the comments. You live commenters, I
Correct.
gotta tell you.
Add that to your checklist.
Josh,
should I have been listening to the podcast instead of reading the live comments? That's a good one.
If I have to do one more piece of self-improvement in the next 2 months, you don't understand.
Hey Seth, there's only a month left in the regular season as of right now. I don't know where this 2 month. I know this 2 months is coming.
There's only
from.
a month left of a lot of things. So here's the deal. The scheme schism.
That one's coming up in the film room.
I wrote about. See, it doesn't matter if you get it right once. It only matters if you get it wrong after that. So, anatomy of a play.
He reverted to his old self. I told you he couldn't do it in the middle of an episode.
I talked about the fact that the Chiefs' offensive scheme isn't scheming. Something to keep in mind. There were multiple times against the Texans where Andy Reid dialed up a really nice-looking unfolding of a previous play. And, I swear they dropped, most of
all of them.
Now to be fair, at least one of the drops was also, it was that 4th and 1. Rice, it was contested, but that wasn't a good design. That's one of the plays I covered. But they did a really nifty unfolding of a 3rd and short with Kareem Hunt, and Kareem just dropped it, man. That was I remember watching that, and yeah, Mahomes got it out of there real fast, but you kind of had to. You wanted to get there quick before the defense realized what's going on. That was a great play. That was one of 2 or 3 times where I was like, ooh, I didn't see that coming at all. That was well-designed, great stuff. I wanted to focus on, there's a lot of people talking about the Chiefs' expected points added per play, which is just how well you're moving the ball overall in a way that makes me more likely to score, and how they're 5th in the entire league. Check out those numbers since the bye. They're not nearly as good.
Can I say that that's a Dave Tove stat? Because the Chiefs never get the ball in a favorable spot on the field.
Right. And that's also the thing. They're good drives or long drives. And so it's they're 3 and out or nothing. But the other thing is EPA per play. It also doesn't really reflect the fact that you've shortened every game to be 9 drives because everything's slow and painful. But that's what I want to talk about is the Chiefs scheme. And we've talked about this a lot. There's a lot of conversation about how the scheme isn't helping Mahomes. Okay. And that's a big thing that everyone's talking about this week. Some people have gone into more details than others. I know people at ESPN, people at The Ringer, people online. Nate Tice has talked about it in detail. I've seen stuff from Barnwell. I've seen stuff from the Schwartz brothers. I've seen stuff from Greg Cosell, which I haven't watched yet, but I'm afraid is going to be a bloodbath. There's lots of people talking about it, but sometimes you see stuff that's more talked about in kind of a 10,000 feet in the air, generalized statements. What I wanted to do was show what it looks like boots on the ground when you're not helping your quarterback. And one of the easiest ways to do that is just looking at a couple of plays right in a row. And so, Josh, did you have a favorite play there for me to go through? Because what I
disliked all of them.
Nice. What I wanted to do is talk about how individual plays, and this isn't something you can do all the time, especially in life. Not everything is evidence of a larger problem, fellas. But sometimes things are, and this is where
can we do the play where it is I guess a slight version of mesh, and then Patrick does something that easily gets forgotten, and Juju Smith-Schuster does a good job of actually catching the football in a contested area. That play, and again, that was early in the game, so this was you could tell from the signs already. Ooh, okay. He actually had a clean pocket. He actually stepped up into the pocket,
and they didn't have answers.
Oh boy.
Yep. That was a play for sure. So this is a great one. So it's 3rd and 5, a little over 3 minutes to go in the first half. The Chiefs are down 10-0. They got to get something going. Houston's getting the ball after the half. The offense has looked relatively anemic.
Yep.
And so it's kind of a gotta have it down, kind of like this was a gotta have it game. And the Chiefs run from the start of the play, you end up, I'm just watching the end of the play. It's so crazy. You got 3 guys to the right, 1 guy to the left, who is Rashee Rice. And they essentially run an iteration of mesh. Okay. Mm-hmm. We've talked about mesh before, crisscrossing routes. That's it. Okay. And if you listen to anyone who does a lot of film on the Chiefs, there's been a lot of jokes about that. That they're just spamming mesh against man coverage because they don't have good answers to man coverage. They don't, say, oh, hey, why don't we have, Hollywood Brown run a dig and Xavier Worthy run, I don't know, a slot fade, which, by the way, or a fake slant into a fade, essentially, which, by the way, he did later on in 1-on. But whatever. It's a shame he can only run that once a game. You use it all up. You use all your tokens there. So the Chiefs run an iteration of mesh. And the reason I say an iteration is because Travis Kelce does something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And so stay with me on this, voyeurs, watchers. You can read it on the Chief North newsletter. This is actually before the paywall. You can watch the play while we talk about this. this play is demonstrative of larger issues. So again, you can't always go from the trees to the forest, but sometimes you can. And my goal, whenever I look at film, is to try to find something demonstrative of the bigger overall issue, not to use one play as proof of the bigger overall issue, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So here's what happens here. You've got Juju and Rice running an iteration of mesh where they're crisscrossing each other. Kelsey starts off running right to left as though he's running mesh as well. Here's the thing. Kelsey breaks off his route and heads back outside to the right side of the field. And then he ends up cutting off his route again, which I'm not sure he was supposed to do. No one's open. No one's remotely open. And part of that is because of the way that the Texans played it right from the snap, which, yes, they're playing man coverage, but they were ready for mesh, and they clearly communicated a switch, particularly the guy that was on the left side of the defense, right side of the Chiefs offense. He sees Rashee Rice coming. He calls out the switch. They've got two defenders that are staying put, which basically defeats mesh because that means anything you throw is going to be a hospital ball, okay? Now, the reason they're able to do this, it's like, well, wait, how could they play man and have guys following and also have at least one guy staying home? Because they're playing single high. They're playing one safety, which means they've got an extra body in the box, which makes running mesh really, really hard because they can switch. And even if one guy gets it wrong, you're still set, and they're filling the middle of the field. And that's exactly what happens here. And so Travis Kelce breaks off his route, and he ends up, rather than running right to left and continuing mesh at a different level, he breaks it off to run back right. Here's the thing. We have no idea if that's what he was supposed to do because Travis Kelce...
The odds are low.
The odds are low that that's what he was supposed to do. He probably just saw that ain't no one getting open. And so I took a screenshot of this play immediately. No, not immediately. This is after Mahomes has dropped back at the top of his drop, looked at the reads, and stepped forward. Shout out to Juwan Taylor, who buried his block. Shout out to Isapole, who holds up
That was Jalen Moore, by the way, not Juwan Taylor, but yeah.
Or Jalen Moore. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And I meant to say Jalen Moore, too. I don't know what happened to me there. You have got good protection. Isapole holds up for like 4 solid seconds. And there's no one
Nobody.
open. And screenshots don't always show that no one's open, but even because that's what's important. You got to have the moving picture above or next to the still, because then you can see everyone's leverage. Nobody is open. The only guy who's close to open is a guy who's literally not even part of the reads. At least Mahomes never looks at him, and that's Tyquan Thornton on the boundary outside. Now, he's against a corner who plays really well in trail technique, but Thornton gets an okay release and gets a little separation to where if you want to talk me into a moonshot there, go for it. Because he's more open by far than anyone else because the play is designed to scheme guys open, not for guys to get open. The only guy, and this is where we've got kind of a sliding doors thing. Andy Reid maybe called it up for Kelce to break outside, which in that case would be, hey, good for you. You broke a normal tendency to, you normally call mesh against that man look, and you had Kelce do something else. That maybe it looks much more like he's probably ad-libbing, and he couldn't separate in one-on-one coverage, which was a consistent issue for Kelce this game. Here's the problem. So Mahomes then ends up getting under a little bit of pressure. I've had people tell me that he bailed out of a clean pocket there. Issa Pole's defensive lineman starts to get a little bit of inside leverage to where he can rush inside. I don't know if you remember, Justin Houston's ridiculous years. One of the things he was great at was getting a little bit of push straight ahead and then swiping hands down and moving inside into the rush lane that he'd created. That's what was about to happen. Mahomes breaks right. There's nothing there, drags it out. And then on the second or third play, at that point, it'd be like the third play had been so long. He finds Juju Smith-Schuster, makes a great catch. Then there's the face mask additional. By EPA per play, what a win. That schemed no one open. No one. So here's the deal. There's multiple other plays we could look at there that maybe we could talk about. But here's where I want to, and I've got someone already asking, why can't this team physically not beat man coverage? I'll walk through that in a second, okay? This play call demonstrated multiple problems that are larger systemic issues within the Chiefs offense, and that's why I spent so much time on it. There's an over-reliance on certain looks while ignoring other available options for man coverage, even if a defense is set up to handle that kind of look. The defense was set up to handle mesh. They had an extra defender in the area. That's if Kelsey's route was ad-libbed. If
Right.
his route was called like that, then what that means is you've got an over-reliance on a 36-year-old tight end who does not separate from man coverage like he did in 2022. But they're still...
Especially not against one of the best secondaries in the league. And that's just a fact with the Texans.
Absolutely. So it demonstrates that if Kelsey's route was called, there's an over-reliance on Kelsey. There's also an over-reliance on scheme setting up one guy to win an individual matchup. There's an over-reliance on the scheme. Everyone else's job is to draw the defense away, not get open. And that's going to matter in a second here because I'm going to circle back to that really great question in terms of why can't this team physically beat man coverage, okay? So if Kelsey's route was called, rather than having multiple guys have a chance to win against man coverage, you've got schemed up stuff for everyone else, and then one guy that might be manned up. And then the other way is the way team is basically ignoring Tyquan Thornton here. It's a single high man look, and even with a good corner there, they are daring the Chiefs to beat them over the top, knowing they won't, and they didn't make them pay for it. Some guys aren't utilized the way they ought to be with consistency, and that's a great example of Tyquan Thornton. Sure, he had the drop in the end zone, but at least they threatened it. That play was a heck of a lot closer than multiple other plays like this 3rd and 5. Here's the final thing, and I know I've monologued here. Because I know Josh is going to have good questions and all this. But people ask, why can't they beat man coverage? Is it a skill issue with the receivers? Partly, yes. Okay? That's partly true. But also, mesh and other types of, this is another play that I looked at that was 3rd and 5 later that same drive. When you look at the routes that Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy run, who are two of their best man coverage guys.
They are literally their two best man cover guys.
Yeah. Yes. Against
statistically, yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you are looking at in space and running intermediate routes. Worthy runs just this kind of little out thing that's designed to maybe if someone picked you open. And Brown's running kind of a corner. The whole thing is designed to get someone picked open or maybe design some open space for Rashee Rice. None of it is man coverage beating routes. And that's something that you have to keep in mind. There are routes that are designed to beat man coverage. One of the easiest examples that I can think of would be like an intermediate dig, okay? An intermediate dig route is designed to attack the leverage of the corner, and then once you get him turning his hips, you sink and you turn in, and that is a man coverage beating route. There's man coverage beating routes. There's man coverage beating designs. The Chiefs almost only do this with designs. They don't do it with routes. So, no, Brown and Worthy and Rice are not elite man coverage beating guys, or maybe even very good at it, but they are better than how they've looked. Hollywood Brown has never looked worse against man coverage than he has in the Chiefs scheme. So that's a lot of words on one play, but it summarizes so much of what's currently ailing the Chiefs from a schematic standpoint.
Can I add something to that?
Please do. So much.
It's okay with Sean's question as well. They can beat man coverage. To Seth's point, they prioritize. When I say they, I mean the Chiefs. The Chiefs prioritize beating man coverage with yards after the catch.
Yep.
And a dig does not present itself traditionally to get yards after the catch. A dig is for possession and to move the sticks and to get down. Unless, which is so funny that I'm about to include this play, unless you're CJ Stroud and Chris Jones is once again in the backfield and you escape to your right. Nico Collins does run I believe it is a dig. I think it's Noel Williams.
And then he just keeps running.
And because there's such a void in the middle of the field, he actually does get pretty good yards after the catch. But normally a dig is supposed to get you a chunk play to move the chains. The Chiefs largely prioritize run after the catch when they're trying to beat man coverage.
And Worthy and Brown aren't yak guys.
So why isn't that working? Well, I'll let you think about that while we take a break.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Enterprise because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day. The tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New Missouri customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KCSN. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
I'm sure we'll find some time to talk about the Chiefs passing game as the year and eventually the offseason goes on. So let's talk about some of the news on the offensive line. Still no official word on Wanya Morris, but he's obviously not practicing this week, and Andy said it didn't seem good. Jawan Taylor has also not practiced this week. Of course, Josh Simmons not on the injury report at all because he's on injured reserve. And Trey Smith was a full participant on Wednesday, limited today. We also heard a little bit, I think it was Monday's Andy Reid presser about he mentioned the matchups and player comfortability when he talked about Jalen Moore at right tackle and Wanya Morris and then Esapole at left tackle. Nate, I'm just kind of giving you all the news there. What's the current state of the offensive line in your mind? Are we going to see Trey Smith? Should we see Trey Smith? And did you get any clarity on the tackle situation?
Chiefs fans better hope Trey Smith's in uniform on Sunday. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but Trey Smith's presence, even if he's not 100%, swings this game heavily in the Chiefs' favor.
Can I just hang? And I'm sorry, I've
please,
talked so much. Ahead. I would just note, because we talked a ton about scheme, there's other stuff that went on. One of them was, there were plays that should have been big plays. Hollywood Brown might have had a touchdown or at least a huge play, yes. But when Mahomes moved to that read, that was right as Caliendo was getting whooped, and it wasn't great. And so that does matter. I apologize. Right. Please go.
No, it's a great point because we've always known, really since Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey entered the league, that Mahomes is much better at being an escape artist from the edge. It gets really difficult for him from the interior. And that's usually the case with most quarterbacks, but it is very much easy to see. It's easy for the eye test to understand that when Caliendo starts to struggle, Mahomes has a cumulative effect in terms of how quickly he can escape, how quickly he can rescue a play versus, hey, if it's a, and that's why it's so funny, I think, because I know most people will say, like, well, they didn't have a left tackle last year, and he was still excellent because he knew when the ball was snapped, it ain't going to be great. But you know what? I'm so talented. I can find a way to escape or to extend plays, and it's a lot easier to do it with a guy rushing you from the edge versus, again, the reason that play is not successful is it's right in front of him, and now he's got to worry about that versus, sort of standing in the pocket and delivering a catchable ball in essence. So again, Trey Smith, if he's in uniform, massive deal. The Chiefs will hope that he can feel better tomorrow and that he can be a full participant, see how things go Saturday with the walkthrough. And then obviously you can run this all the way up to the pregame warmups with Trey Smith, considering he's dealing with the ankle sprain. So it is an injury of importance. When it comes to the tackle situation, I have to believe that the Chiefs should, for continuity's sake, and to just honestly from an evaluation standpoint, they need to see Esapole do it again at left tackle. And I know Jalen Moore is more experienced and he's obviously capable. And again, maybe some of this is depending on Mike Caliendo, considering they were college teammates, he and Jalen Moore. But I kind of want to see it again. Like, it is one thing for an undrafted rookie to play his first NFL snaps after this first play, to be like, wait, what? I have to go in. I have to protect the greatest quarterback we've ever seen against those guys. Now, to Matt Nagy's point today, there's no tape. So Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson are learning in real time what they are capable of. What is Esapole's technique? How does he, handle certain situations on third down? By all intents and measures, did fantastic. Did as well as you could have asked any non-drafted rookie playing their first NFL game against those guys to do well. But now there is tape. And you didn't get first team reps all week, but now you're getting them this week. And so I want to see what it's like against Khalil Mack, who will test you, right? I know Oweh's okay. He's not Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, or Khalil Mack for that matter. But hey, he's an NFL player, So I just want to see it one more time. I know Mahomes was encouraged by Pole's performance. I think they should keep it the way it was, even if Trey Smith returns, because yes, I know your season's on the line, but man, if you scouted, and this is more coaching staff perhaps than front office, because again, the front office was the one who convinced SA to join the Chiefs. It's the coaching staff who said he's not going to make the initial 53, even though he had a very impressive preseason. Kind of want to see the evaluation, at least one more game, and then it becomes fascinating because, and I had some conversations with some of my colleagues today in the media room. Have we seen the last of Jawan Taylor? Was Thanksgiving Day the last we saw of him? Whether the Chiefs win and extend their season another week, or if the Chiefs happen to lose, do you go into full-on evaluation mode with Esapole?
On that front with Pole from an eval standpoint, yeah, do I have it right? And I'll credit the person who I think said this if it's right, if you can confirm it. But wasn't he working as a right tackle throughout training camp? And that was okay. So I think Matt Derrick said that somewhere, and I didn't want to throw him under the bus if I'd gotten that wrong.
Now, as Andy will always say, well, Nate, Josh, we rotate those guys. They know what they're
right,
doing.
And that's why Josh Simmons played some center during training. No, Josh Simmons spent all of training camp with the first team left tackle, and Jalen Moore ended up on the right side and whatever. But even thinking about next year, there's no barring an asteroid or something off the field, Josh Simmons is your starting left tackle week 1, 2026, obviously. If Esapole had a better year at right tackle than Jalen Moore, and you have another extremely young player who's taken a job to make Jalen Moore an expensive swing tackle again, that'd be okay, because it means somebody won the job. That's a very similar version of the conversation we've had for better and for worse over these last couple of years. So even from an evaluation standpoint, Pole or Jalen Moore, one of them is going to start at right tackle next year. I think it's still Jalen Moore with a huge head start there. But like, I don't know, just thinking about the evaluation process of it all. Look, and if you find that Esapole can be a legit swing tackle for you next year, that's a huge victory.
Yeah, and I think that's traditionally that's where the trend should go, right, Josh? If everything goes the way it's supposed to, and again, you have good online depth. You've obviously developed a guy from year one into where he knows exactly where he is in terms of like year two. Like, hey, I'm a legitimate NFL player, and I've gone through some experiences. What's fascinating is, and I know the reason why you asked is because, August feels like forever ago, but, years. Wanye Morris was considered the swing tackle because, again, Jalen Moore was splitting reps at right tackle with Jawan Taylor during training camp. So Esapole essentially was like right tackle 3, even though in college at Washington State, he was a 2-year starter at left tackle. So there is some variety, versatility. Obviously the Chiefs have always preferred that. When talking to offensive linemen at guard and at tackle positions, can you play both within a pinch and a weird, weird scenario like this? But yeah, maybe next year he goes into having more chances to demonstrate who he is at right tackle, considering that might be where he would come in the event that something happened to Jalen Moore, and obviously if Jawan Taylor is playing elsewhere next season.
Okay, I'm going to just basically skip right through our second to last topic, and then we can say whatever we're looking for in Chiefs-Chargers. Also, just because I wanted to have just a cutesy rundown topic. The next topic is just win, maybe? Because that's where you should be at playoff-wise. The only thing that matters here is if the Chiefs beat the Chargers. Don't worry about the playoff odds, the percentages everywhere else.
Scoreboard watch, baby.
Yeah, I mean, feel free, but you've been scoreboard watching for 5 weeks, and the only score that's mattered is the Chiefs losing 4 of those games, or 5 games, and losing 4 of those. So, I mean, there is a path to the playoffs. There are playoff implications down the road. You eventually need these weird things to happen to the Chargers and in the AFC West, and the Eagles didn't help by losing to the Chargers on that Monday night game that we mentioned. So the only thing effectively that has anything to do with the Chiefs making the playoffs right now is the Chiefs beating the Chargers. If they do, we'll talk about playoff situations next week. If they don't, it's frustratingly, I don't know if the season is mathematically over.
It will not be mathematically over. They have to have, again, that's why I say scoreboard watch, ladies and gentlemen. There's about 4 things that have to occur for the Chiefs to technically be eliminated by the start of Sunday Night Football. But look, yes, thank you. Only weird scoreboards. Here we go. I mean, guys, we're rooting for Check's Notes. The Seattle Seahawks?
Who are they playing? Who do we want to lose? That's
they're playing
easier.
the Colts. Yeah, you want the Colts to lose.
Okay.
All right, I got it here. The Houston Texans, who are now the enemy. You want them to lose. You need the Baltimore Ravens to lose. Even though I know they lost and they have the same records, yada yada yada. The Miami Dolphins play on Monday night, so I guess mathematically they don't really care. But again, you kind of need the Steelers to lose. Or you need the Steelers to win out and the Ravens to lose out. It's very tricky.
Right. You just need the Steelers to win. One of them just needs to win the division. The other one needs to fall apart.
You are rooting for, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Giants, because they play the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Arizona Cardinals have the Houston Texans, kids. It's a great
Jets.
time.
The Jets play the Jags, which makes that even more of a sick experience.
Right. Now, look, if you're asking for a team to go on a historic collapse in the last 4 weeks of the season, then you should be rooting for Drake May and the New England Patriots, because they play the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills have a slight chance of going 9-8, but that would have to start on Sunday. That's probably not going to happen. So let me provide some hope. Right?
Almost all of these games are happening after Chiefs-Chargers goes final. You're going to know then.
Yeah.
Chiefs-Chargers happens at noon. You're going to know by 3:30 if you're looking at scoreboards or not.
Yeah.
You might know by 2. You might know by 12:30.
Look, we're asking Sam Darnold to do us a favor. Okay?
I'm not.
Go out there and beat Phillip Rivers. That's all we're asking, okay? That's all we're asking. Now, in this category, Josh, I will provide hope. Yes, the Arizona Cardinals still exist. I don't know. I guess it's Brissett who's their quarterback because they're done with Kyler Murray. We all know that. All right, let's provide you some hope. Guys, their quarterback is going to play in a game where when he gets hit, hopefully by Chris Jones, don't know by anybody else, his body will be hurting. It's going to be freezing temperatures. Come on out to the ballpark. Plenty of seats available if you haven't looked. It's going to be cold. He's going to be playing on a recently recovered fractured hand that will be in a wildly different condition than his home arena in optimal conditions on turf. Okay, now look, you saw this. It's not apples to apples, but look, they just played a very immensely tiring, heavily emotional, holy smokes, we could win. Oh my God, we won in overtime game. And now they got to go on the road to a cold environment that was even colder than last Sunday against a desperate football team that should be highly motivated because they beat them in week 1. Season on the line. Again, this game has to matter more to the Chiefs than the Chargers. I think
the phrase "should be highly motivated" has grown tiresome over the last
on
month.
A short week. That's right, Ed. On a short week in the cold, and the man's hand is still hurting. Okay, it's still throbbing. So maybe, just maybe.
Seth, where's your hope level at?
Excuse me. I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord.
That's got to be a bingo, right?
Yep. Give me the old Bible verse check off.
Good old Psalm 27 to
hell yeah.
What is that? A psalm?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
All right.
I
David was going through it, people.
As
much like David, you are in the. I don't know. I got nothing.
Okay, I have it here.
David was checking the play call and the play design and the play execution. And
he rolled his eyes.
But things were different back then. You rolled your eyes at the coach. He tried to spear you to the wall.
Yeah, he tried to smite
Saul
you.
didn't mess around.
So I have it here. How you're asking, good sir, ma'am, how can the Chiefs be eliminated from playoff contention? I definitely want this to be the cutout, Tucker. Book it. Because the Chiefs have lost the majority of tiebreakers, they can mathematically be eliminated from the playoffs this week. There are several scenarios that could knock out, but this is the simplest and the cleanest one. The Chiefs lose to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Buffalo Bills either win or tie the New England Patriots. In Jacksonville, the Jaguars win or tie the Jets. And finally, the team that just exited Arrowhead with a victory, the Houston Texans, can win against the Cardinals if and only if all 4 of those results happen. The Kansas City Chiefs, for the first time in more than a decade, would be eliminated from the postseason.
None of those are particularly far-fetched.
They should win, would be my case. My case would be just win, maybe, because if you'd like to make the playoffs, I would say beat the Chargers. I don't say that like it's an easy thing they can just do by choice, but it's the only thing that matters. If they lose this game and don't get mathematically eliminated, we're going to have a really hard time doing a 1% chance game. And they're going to go beat the Titans, obviously, so that's going to be annoying.
Give me the bong and give me the dong, Tucker.
Tucker's looking for the dong.
To Josh's point, the Buffalo Bills play at noon on Sunday. The Jacksonville Jaguars play at noon on Sunday. And the team that just exited Arrowhead Stadium with the win plays at noon on Sunday. Welcome to the bad cocaine, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Scoreboard Watch in early December. This is fentanyl lace cocaine, maybe.
It's the snitching hour.
The snitching hour.
Only Weird Games wants to make clear that we don't view any drug use of illicit substances as good in any way, shape, or form, and would really like for you to understand that when Nate's speaking of cocaine, he's speaking of the NFL experience watching Red Zone in a hyperbolic manner.
Yes.
Thank you for this PSA.
And at 3:30, you still might be rooting for the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Indianapolis Colts.
And that
Scoreboard
concludes
Watch.
our Chiefs-Chargers preview.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you.
Doctor!